Hey! Okay, sweetheart, thank you. Oh, hi, Beatrice. How are you, honey? You're asking about my kitties? Oh, let's see. They've gotten into mischief. I have all kinds of naughty stories about them. What's the latest? Well, Feruza got a bath, and her sisters were looking at her like she was a strange alien creature because she was all wet. I gotta show you some funny kitty stories and some videos and stuff. I think you'll laugh. But thank you so much, sweetheart. I know it's hard for me to bump into you now because you're in Australia. I know, and my time, I do daytime, so you're sleeping or going to school or something. But I always, yeah. Well, it's nice to see you, sweetheart. Thank you for popping in. You're always so full of joy. Leaf, yes, Leaf. Let's start your reading. Oh, thank you. No. I aim to deliver. So, let me think back a minute. Do you still want to find out about the landlord or something like that? Or lawn guy? Something about the lawn or a land or lawn, I can't remember. That guy? Oh, I know it was on Jonathan. But do you want me to look into that? Yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll take a peek at that. And I'll look at the escalated future where he's going to so I'm thinking out loud, if there's already a plane ticket purchased, I don't know if it's going to be a drive, because sometimes when there's calendar itinerary already placed, sometimes that solidifies the future event. Plane, yeah. So did he already buy a ticket, or did he reserve any kind of anything that would systematically already put that into gear, or is this still in the air, the visiting? Because imagine that I assume that he's visiting you, and you see how it becomes quirky. I would then have to ask, is he really going to? You see? Okay, at work. Okay, that means that it's actually, okay. So it did end for a while for good. You did have like an official ending, at least for a phase. And then now it's opening up again. So we're going to see what that's about. Anything significant on the ending? Or the drastic finish? I get a feeling you guys are a little bit different now. Almost like you doubt. You always doubt how much he'll commit or how much he'll be forward in the future with you. But this time you seem like you're doubting what he even feels. I haven't seen you so out of touch, I guess, or not as confident. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. I'm doing a, okay. For you. One second. Fuck off, asshole. Okay, so this is a cast on you and the landlord, okay? Oh, I don't let it bother me. I don't let trolls bother me, but when I'm doing a reading and I'm looking at your comments and they're just fucking idiots, it bothers me. So but normally, oh, you should see the shit they spew on here. Oh my God, troll upon Trollville. And I just ignore it because I don't have time for that shit. But when I'm in the zone and I'm feeling something and I'm reading and I look up to read your comment, oh dear, and I have such a pirate mouth. Oy vey. Sorry about that, honey. You shouldn't be hearing me curse. But yeah, I have a pirate mouth. Okay, so anyway. Okay, this is about the landlord. All right. So anyway, this is about the landlord. So the attraction is very genuine. There's also an issue where I don't know how open you've been with him, but he is aware of some things about you that are more detailed. So either he knows a little bit about some hardships you've gone through, or he knows about Jonathan. I don't know what you've told him, but there is a sense of knowledge there. He also feels this is the point of view that I'm seeing that he has with you must have been that you must have talked to him when you had a different mindset. So 1 minute you say something and then 2-3 weeks go by and you completely evolve from where that conversation was, and you may not see things that way anymore, but he does. So that's where it stays. So that's the first thing that I see. There was someone he was interested in, or maybe she was more interested in him. I wouldn't say it's completely off the list, but I would say that if you're gonna go for it, I think we would have to like look into things to see how how serious you'd be about it, because as it is, there's a lot of resistance there, and mainly from him. So yes, there's attraction, but there's also a lot of things he does not, like a lot of things that are not clear and that he wonders about. So you kind of like left him wondering. So, I, I, I don't know. You want me to go further with this? Did that give you enough clue, or do you want to go into the other topic, or? Okay. Did I confuse you with what I said? Okay. Because if I wasn't clear, I don't want you to be, you know, oh, okay, okay. As long as it makes sense, because I don't want to open a door and then leave it like that. Okay, let me check on you and Mr. Jonathan. You do realize he has a lover, right? Jonathan, are you aware of this? As in recent? Okay. You know there's two, right? Yeah. There's two. Just saying, you know, I don't want to cause any waves, but you know I have to look. All right? We're good then? Move on? Okay. All right, let's find out. Oh. All right, we're gonna do all right. No, I don't know about any kids with him. Oh, I know he has a kid. No. Hang on. So let's back up. So I know he has a kid with a lady, and I know that sometimes, you know, they rendezvous. Like, that's been established. But as of recent, so he still sees her on occasion, just for you to know, which I'm pretty sure you know, because that's like old business. But new business, there's a woman at his job. There's no kids there. It's just straight up, you know, physical. Okay? You know what I mean? Yeah, she's new in the picture. Mm-hmm. She's new in the picture. Obviously, he's not serious about her. He wouldn't be seeing you. I just want to be very clear on something. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't mind reading on both of you as many times as you want. It's your feelings, it's your emotions. I look at it like a love reading. That's what I do. Not, it's my job. I have no problem. And there's no judgment. And I want you to feel comfortable if you want, readings on him all the time. If you want them or not, that's fine. No judgment. But I can't be irresponsible and not tell you the big answer. It's your prerogative, obviously. You're a grown adult with your own choices, and it's up to you to enjoy your life and do the things you want to do according to how you see fit and what makes you happy, and that's fine. But if you're coming to me to find out how far it goes with Jonathan, I see him like this, all right? You may think I'm just doing a reading, but for me, I feel this heavy pull to always tell the female that I'm reading for, or the male, to tell them not only the clarity of what they're asking, but what the big picture is and where it's going, so that you don't waste your life. You may not care, but I do. I wouldn't have any morals if I didn't see that. So I don't mind reading, and right now life is going to be good and you can have a wonderful romantic visit. Hopefully it's awesome for you. And I want you to have a happy ending. I want you to have a happy story with him. But I'm going to tell you what I see already. There was a time there he was in love with you, as much as he could be in love. I believe he cares for you or loves you in a way that he hasn't loved anybody else since his first. You are different. You did get to him in the feels like nobody else. But you met a man that his desire to give love that fresh chance again, his desire to, start this fresh new page with the right woman and have a baby, or maybe there's no baby. You don't have to. It could be dogs, pets, whatever, sail around the world, whatever the hell. Give real love a real chance with a real new beginning. You never met a man like that in him. In him, it was always this, yes, I might, but I don't know. It left a bad taste in his mouth. You met a broken wing bird. He has always been a bird with a broken wing. Don't fool yourself. He's always had that broken wing. And there was a time where maybe you could have maybe taped up the wing and had it heal so he could fly, but it really were the odds were against it. So what I'm saying to you is he enjoys being involved with you at a very deep level, because to him, the friendship you give him, the talks that you have, the bonding that you share, the way he feels about you, where sometimes he's protective and other times you protect him, and the passion and the chemistry and the understanding that you have with each other, there is such a familiar love and comfort and need and bond with both of you that it's crazy strong. But what happened was there were choices you made. It's not your fault. But there were choices that you made and there were choices he made. And the odds were against the situation anyway. So don't blame yourself, and he can't blame himself. There was a small chance he was going to mend that wing, and he just didn't want to. So what I'm saying to you is we're going to look into what this next phase is. Hopefully it's a very happy thing. but he's never going to want that fresh, beautiful beginning that a young woman wants. Getting engaged, getting married, getting committed, starting a family, whether that's a goldfish, whether that's 3 kids, whatever. The home, the new fresh page, the beginning, the real love. He's never wanted that. He's not capable of it. He's an old dog that didn't want to learn a new trick. And it's been crazy, wicked, psychologically deep between both of you, and you've shared. It's stupid how he doesn't open himself up for more, but I think it was also the way it was handled as well. So I say that to you so that, you know, you can continue to enjoy each other, because he will never not want to be with you. There was an ending at one point. There was something that, there was an end, whether you see it now or not. Maybe you'll see it when he visits. The ending was that there was this small unspoken promise that maybe it would turn into more, and at one point he did entertain that for a time, and that has ended. So that doesn't mean you can't continue to see each other and live your life. If he comforts you in many ways, then that's fine. Just don't plan. I know you're not banking on long term, which is wise of you, very wise, and that's a new change. But he's also going to make it very hard for you to let him go, and it's also hard for you to let him go. So at this point, for you to have the future that you deserve and the beginning and all that while you're still young, because it's not anybody deserves that at any age, but there is a time limit, and there will be times where it's harder for you. And you won't be the same. You will not be able to offer your full self to a new person in the same way. There's a fire inside you that wants something real, and at some point, I have read for women that started off like you. I'm thinking of one in particular. I would never ever blow their cover, blow their information. I would never do that. I'm very respectful of people's privacy, but I'm thinking of her in particular. Brilliant in what she does. Curly red hair too. Very pretty woman. And she just, it has got to a point where she just, she just hung in that scenario too long. And now she's much older, and there's no hope of something like that. So she just kind of goes with the flow. I wouldn't like to see you like that. That's all. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to compare what he's feeling now, because I got to look in the closest future, and then I'm going to do the escalated. So give me 1 second. I'm going in now. I have a question for you. Kind of out of the ordinary. I'll save it for the end. It was an idea that I had. All right, diving into the escalated future. So he's going to visit you. I need the dates just to give me an anchor point. Give me the dates of when he's flying to you. Okay. You don't know the exact date, right? Just the end of January? Okay. What is he like 4 hours away? Are you in one? Can you give me the 2-letter state you're in and the 2-letter state he's in? So I can just connect with that. That's all I need, really. So just like the 2-letter abbreviation. So you're in, okay. Okay. All right. All right. We went to the Twilight Zone. Why not? Let's go. Okay, here we go. Let's start off with how he's feeling right now. Okay. So a part of him doesn't want to go. You know? Did you sense that? A part of him didn't want to go. He's still thinking about if he should or not. He's going to go, most likely. So I do see that he will go because I'm already seeing a pattern when he goes. Don't get offended by it. He's a water sign, so he's very moody too. Water signs, they're moody. What's his moon again? Do you know his moon? If you don't know it, that's okay. You know his birthday? All you have to do is go to moongiant.com. I always tell this free resource to my clients. Moongiant.com. Let's see. Moongiant.com. Go all the way down to where you're born on a full moon. Click close on the ad. What's the month? He was born in November? Or he seems like a November Scorpio. Oh, you don't know his birthday? Oh, you used to. Because I think I've looked something up about him. So it's month, day, and year is all I need. But if you don't know it, oh, okay, 11/5/86. Oh, he just had a birthday. Okay. So he's a Sagittarius moon. That's right, Sagittarius. And it talked about his ex being in a distant place. Yeah, it's coming back to me now. Yeah, Sag moon. Okay. Yeah, okay, so he's a Sag moon. And your moon is what? I don't like the reading so far, but let's get into some details. Libra moon, okay, yeah. That does pretty well with both of those signs, actually. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so, part of him is, why did I ask you that? I forgot why I asked you his moon. It'll come back to me. Anyway, let me go back to the rhythm here. Financially and stuff like that, right now he is struggling a bit. He is trying to kind of like, he's not a person that sits there lingering in problems. He likes to solve them. He is going through something that it is financial. He is struggling with, apparently going to see you does cost him an uncomfortable change. You may not know it, but for him to put this plan in gear, he does deal with something uncomfortable. He's not going to sit there and bitch and whine about it. Oh, I have to do this, because that's rude and it's just pointless. He's like a man, he's dealing with it. But just for you to know, there are some annoying details that he's dealing with. I don't know what they are, but it's almost like he's got to restructure something, and it kind of annoys things and it causes an issue, but he can do it. But it's whatever this is, it's like a person going, oh, yeah, I want to, I guess I'll go, it would be good, but I got to do this, and then I got to change that over there, and by the time I do that, yeah, I guess I will. And it also talks about him reminiscing. Apparently this is talking about him remembering what he goes through with you. I haven't seen this in him as far as I've read his energy. It's either him wanting to comfort you, or afraid, or I've seen him pissed off, or I've seen him really missing you and desiring you. But I haven't seen him like this quarrel like thinking in his head, like, you may speak in good terms with him. I get that, what you're saying, I get that, but I just don't see that he's in the same headspace as you. I see him like a very large portion of him wants to go. Like I said, he's drawn to you kind of like a drug in a way. I don't know if that offends you. I don't mean it in a bad way. But it's almost like you're drawn to each other in a addictive kind of way. People can be addicted to exercise, and that's good. So I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just, that's what it reminds me of, because the reason is because there's parts of him that are very drawn to you magnetically, and then there's parts of him that is trying to analyze a way around it. Kind of like he's fighting within himself to stop it. That's not normal. So I am seeing that he is kind of daydreaming, or that sounds stupid, daydreaming, but you know what I mean? Like, I guess pensive, caught up in thought about some of the things he's gone through with you. And he usually doesn't do that. I mean, from what I've learned about him, he's just usually either will deal with something, and then like it gets to, okay, next subject, let's, short attention span Scorpio, right? Okay, next. Okay, I'm done with that. Okay, next. I don't have time for that. This one lingers a bit. Here's what I don't like. I do see him recognizing within himself, this is his own realization, that the way things were headed and some of the fluffy things you talked about, any potential for something more that he at some point entertained. Now there's a decision that's just closed. So this means that he feels within himself. It's kind of like an enigma if you look at it in one way, but it kind of is structured and makes sense in another way. So this is kind of how I'm painting him. A man that had a very strong sexual passion, appetite, very vitality, a lot of stamina, a lot of energy, a lot of joy, really go-getter, a lot of good things around him, and he meets you. And you guys, hit it off, and it's like, the back and forth and the whole story and all this stuff and the complications and the cycles and everything. And then slowly it would get complicated, and then he would just, be more tired and laid back, and this is a drag, and I'm not up for this, and kind of like pushing him along, and he's just apathetic, just completely surrounded by apathy, like you're not getting the responses that you want, and then it just dragged on, and then again happy moments, and there's a pattern. And within that, he got older, and you never stopped wanting what you wanted, but he also just decided that a lot of him, besides you, was getting tired of a lot of things. He's too young to be so goddamn tired. And it's interesting because he's, for somebody to have such a athletic, upbeat, Scorpio males usually have especially the time he was born, they're usually very high energy. Even if they're a lot older, as they grow older, they continue to have like a natural V-shaped body. So they usually have, without beating up at the gym, a lot of them naturally have like a nice figure. He's got that Sag quality. So he's like physically like very young, even though he could be older, but then they can sometimes act like old men, at the same time. Like there's this like old guy quality sometimes. They could be very boring. They could be very mundane and sedentary in some ways, where they just do the same thing over and over, kind of like, they're 90. So that's just part of him, and very funny, extremely humorous and funny as hell. But there's this pessimistic side. And a lot of it sometimes is deeply rooted mother issues, father issues too, actually. Very rare, because usually a sign is one or the other. And there's a heaviness there. And then, of course, the burden of the dad and the ex-wife and all that stuff. So you put that into one big fat sandwich, and you've got a man that already, it's difficult for, so he's naturally very negative, even though it's odd because he displays a lot of positivity. When a person's very negative, he's the first one to, make something full of joy again. He's very, very funny and very, very optimistic to other people. With himself, he's very negative. Right. Don't be so quick to blame yourself. It wasn't that. It was that, but it wasn't that. That's yes and no. Yeah, one flip of the coin, it's right on the nose. The other flip of the coin, it's not. And it's both sides of the coin that make the whole puzzle. Not exactly the direction that you should be thinking. There's more to it. The thing is that when he saw two things went wrong, but why harp on that though? I don't want to do that. I don't want to go into the past and make this sad. No. Let's be informative and constructive and just give you the information that you need. All right? Let's just, anyway, it's important for you to realize that he has a new perspective on how should I say, when a Scorpio has a feeling, and this goes for the male and female. When a Scorpio has a feeling immediately that they become aware of something with their intuition, they're never wrong. A Taurus is different. A Taurus analyzes a lot. And they're very analytical, kind of like Virgo. And it takes a lot of things for a Taurus to say, okay, I've evaluated this. I'm confident with this decision. And I've taken the time to study it and think about it. With a Scorpio, not like that. He knew before you that it wasn't going to work. There's something about him that just doesn't want, he wants to be with you. So how should I say this in a nice way? He likes you physically. He likes who you are. He likes the depth to you. But what he is willing to do is to have you as a love partner, a friend with benefits. It's no longer a situationship, because a situationship is when the male doesn't really know what he's doing. He has no goals, and the female's being kind of strung along, and it becomes this questionable, strange thing that nobody knows how to identify it. But a friend with benefit is very clear. He enjoys being with you, and he sees a friendship in you that's valuable. He likes being there for you, and he enjoys that you're there for him. And he doesn't want you to be away. He values you greatly. He's willing to defend you, help you out, but he sees you as a woman that he sleeps with. And it's not one of these detached sleeping with, because he has one of those. And the ex is a different kind of thing too, although that's in the past though. The new one is something, it was very detached. It was a very, very nothing there. But with you, there is depth and connection and all this stuff. It's a true friendship, like truly valued friendship with the physical connection that's high. But as far as seeing you as a wife, a fiance, and an actual girlfriend, it's not there. And it won't be there. And there was a time that he maybe danced with that thought. There were times where he very heavily was really gearing towards that. And a couple of things happened. So number one, you fed the friend with benefit agenda. Because the allowing and the, not placing a strong boundary where the desire would grow, and he would get the reward without, doing what he needed to do, which would be commit. And number two, a lot of the heaviness that was overwhelming for him that he couldn't handle. And the rehashing of a lot of past things that also woke up in him, things that he didn't really realize that he was feeling. So by you probing and things, which is very natural when you're falling in love, so no judgment there. But these are the things that were just triggers. So right now, this is what he feels. So he wants to see you, and he doesn't want to stop seeing you. Like I said, it's this addictive quality. You are very special and very different than anybody else. He does need you. But you're not in that category, which that's not okay. You're more than just a lover. He needs to see you as the woman that's on his arm, that can carry his name, and he can proudly say, she's mine. That's what you deserve. All right, now let's talk about the escalated future. So I do see that even though he's struggling today with wanting to go, which he does want to go, he's just struggling with the annoyance, because at the same time he's a hard worker in some aspects, and in other aspects he's lazy in some ways. But he is, once he's got his diligence and he's working at what he's doing, he is a very, very good worker, whatever it is that he does. Usually it's something, that type of Scorpio with that numerical date, it's usually something with their hands, labor or shipment or something like that. They're not the desk job type of person. But, you know, they do something where there's a lot of physical moving around and stuff like that. Maybe things with their hands, stuff like that. Okay, they're also good leaders, but there's some intensity to the work. And another thing is, let's go ahead and look at some. This is weird. This is really weird. I mean, it makes sense, but it's odd. The first part of this, when he does arrive, when he does get there, because I do see that he travels to see you. Unless you change conversation and then he gets cold feet, because you can change the outcome of that, but from the way it is, he does go. Number one, he doesn't like Chicago or wherever it is that you're at. It's because the first thing that shows is that he misses his environment. So it's funny because, you know, Sag moons love to explore and travel, but Scorpios kind of hate it. Like, they like vacations and they like joy and exciting places, but they do like their pattern. Like, if they don't feel comfortable in one place, they kind of miss home. It's kind of strange, but so he does feel like he had to come along, but he's missing something back home. It's not a person, so don't worry. It's just he's missing, there's something comfortable that he's missing, that he wishes that this could have come at a different time, because he's happy to be there, but there's something pulling him back that's unfinished. So this is how it begins, uncomfortable. So that means that when you first see him, he could be very happy, but there's going to be something about his stare or his presence where you can pick up on the fact that he's there but not there. So there's like this disconnect that you might see in his eyes or him, where his emotions and his words are plugged in, but there's something about him that's a little plugged out. So it's going to take him a little bit, and then he'll plug back, and then you'll start seeing that connection. So don't get scared off with that, and that's where that's going to come from. Well, the second thing is that he's going to immediately, once the closeness and all of that begins, and the talking and the closeness and all of that, your voice, your embrace, and he starts to feel comfortable because of that, that connection that you have. So the familiarity, that strong familiarity that that he feels with you, your voice, the way you feel together, the hugs and all of that. So that is going to really ease him, because that's really what he's there for. I know I'm making it sound odd, like, oh, these are just sort of physical stuff. Yeah, but no, I'm talking deeper now. There is a part of him that just needs that closeness that you guys have. Like I said, it's a valued friendship. Now here's the strange part. He starts to see in your personal space some things that make him feel like he doesn't really either understand you or have a lot of, this is odd, because I would think that he's seen your place a bunch of times. That's what I don't get, unless you've been the one visiting him. But this is weird, because the way I see this is almost like this is he should be used to everything in your personal space, but there's things about psychology or things about medicine or something technical about science. Maybe it's books, lectures, I don't know your life, but there's something that, I know you studied some medical stuff, but I don't know where this is coming from, but he sees some of that in your environment, and then some magical stuff. So maybe tarot cards, or maybe something spiritual, I don't know. Whatever it is, this is a pretty technical thing I'm describing for such an emotional reading. But the takeaway of what I'm saying is, one of the things he's going to feel when he visits you is that he feels out of his element. Kind of like you seem familiar, and your love and your warmth, but the city and the location and some things in your personal environment, there's something uncomfortable. This can also be if you have to go to work or have a meeting. It doesn't have to be something on your shelf or something in your personal space. It could just be your life there. There's something where it feels foreign to him. Let me go a little bit further here. 1 second. I need to... The outcome of the trip, because I'm sure I can keep chipping away at details and be here for hours, but the big takeaway from this trip is that, I went over time, but that's okay. I forgot to put my timer. It was 20 minutes. The big takeaway from the trip is that, he's not going to be interested deeply. So again, you're gonna, you can still see each other and stuff like that, but there's a difference coming. The difference is already there. He may tell you some words that maybe you don't want to hear. You're gonna see a detachment. It's difficult. It's kind of like when a person is slowly transitioning to, hey, let's be united, and I maybe will want more, but I'm not sure right now, to a person that says, yeah, let's be united, but I'm not going to really want that much in the future because I'm kind of like outgrowing this, I'm not feeling this like I used to, like I'm confused, I need some space, that kind of thing. But not closing the door. So that's where it's headed. I hope I explained it right. Do you have any questions for me? The reading closes. Yes, again, when I do my large readings, there's a lot of detail. I tried to put as much as I could in this. It's supposed to be 10 cards, but I felt bad because I knew that you had reached out to me and you were confused. So I tried to do more. I went beyond, that's why I like doing it on YouTube too, because on TikTok, everybody's watching going, oh, this is 20 minutes. And you've like been on there for like, how can I do that too? Can you do it for me? Like, I don't do that, and when it's on YouTube, yeah, they're recorded and they're put on my channel for archive. I get it. But, nobody watches those. So I'm just saying, I hope I was able to pack as much as I could in this format, which usually I do other formats for that. Like I said, nobody's saying it's, you're not going to have him in your life. What I'm saying to you is, if you need this connection to make you feel better, then that's fine. Do you do you. That's fine. He's an option. He's not going to really close the door for good anyway. He needs you and stuff. But don't put your heart on a platter and waste your life on a person that just is not open. Now, I do have a proposition for you. I never really mentioned this. I've read for you for a while now. And I've never really mentioned this for you. I don't know how to say it. I'm a little, I feel, because I don't want to push anything on anybody. But have you ever thought of maybe seeing what, have you ever thought about the magical route? Because he's alone and emotionally drained and is attracted to you, but his fears and bullshit close the door. And you have been into him for a long time, and he's single and you're single, and you are not breaking any relationship and he's not breaking you with anybody. And the only thing that's in the way of both of you is bullshit. So because of that, I don't see any ethical issue. But I I don't mean to sound egotistical, but you cannot compare what you try to do with what I try to do. You know? I'm an expert at that. That's what I'm saying. Have you ever tried the magical route? Have you ever considered turning this around so he commits to you? If there was no love there, and he's not in love, but he has been somewhat in love. So there is a spark. It's just covered up under shit. And there's no one else he is in love with actively. Okay. I will find out. I know. On your budget and all this. I get that. But I'm going to find out, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to find out if you're eligible. Okay? If you are, then you can't force something that doesn't have the odds for it. If the powers that be and the deities and all that. Okay. We're not doing anything concrete right now. I just wanted to, I never ask anything without a person's permission. You know those people that do readings on people behind their back? Not once in my entire life have I ever asked something on a client without their approval. And if I did and they weren't on the phone or the stream, I would have their approval. They would say, please ask for me tomorrow morning. Never. I don't do that. I think it's unscrupulous to do that. It's fucking rude. So I wanted your permission to find out with the goddess, or I work either astrological, or I work astrological magic. Sometimes it's spiritual magic, which is incredibly intense. And sometimes destiny changes and things like that is deity level. So I was going to find out if you're eligible with him to get a result. If you are eligible, because there are things in this reading that I'm not probing into. For example, there's a lot of things that you have to consider, like to be thorough and correct, and have high standards in magic. Make sure he doesn't have a baby on the way with someone, which we know he doesn't, but it's just to be thorough. You have to ask those things. You have to ask a lot of different things, because you're taking on a project that you're going to unify a couple that has had a very hard time sticking together and committing. So there's a lot of things that I have to look at and consider, and that's why I would ask, because deities would know. I will. And then if it's a yes, it's a very healthy outlook, because it means it has salvation. Now, the way I'm seeing it is, let's not confuse things. When I read on future, I'm reading on the future the way that it's naturally going to play out. People get confused by how I do things. So I'm trying to be as candid as possible with what I do. When I do a reading and I tell you your behavior can change it, or your conversation can influence it, or maybe it's a friend, or maybe it's a behavior, yes, that's very truthful. And the way that it looks, this is a dog that you can't treat, old dog can't, teach new tricks. Like, in other words, he's set in his ways, and that's how he has labeled it. And right now there's this closure, negative, result from this in a way. And that's not, that's the way it goes. But readings are to get information on what is to come and what's now. Magic is a whole other ball game. It's like a whole other world. It has nothing to do with the destiny the way it's aligned at this moment. It's about changing the destiny to another possible one. It's an exchange. So it has nothing to do with the reading. So the reading is just what the client needs to know. That's it. That's the natural life. When you're going to tamper and manipulate, and not in a bad way. Manipulating means you're going to put your hand in destiny and change it. Manipulation can also be positive. You can also manipulate a situation, and if a person's sad, you can also have a conversation with them in a heart-to-heart, and that is manipulating with the result. I don't mean tampering with something good. It gave a negative connotation the way I was explaining it. I meant just having a hand at change. In this particular case, if this is beneficial and can lead you to a relationship, the important part is you're not breaking anything in your life and he's not breaking anything in his. You're two single people that have desired each other. That's how I see it. I still have to look in hidden places and underneath the veil. I got to look in the hidden. I have to, just in case. But if it's a yes, it means that the strength it takes for you guys naturally to overcome this may be so strong and so difficult that you may not. And that's where magic comes in to help. If the answer is no, then that's also a good thing. Because that means then that your happiness is coming. So if the answer is no, you're still full of happiness because you're still going to live your life and have someone that does give you what you want. That's a good thing. The faster you close the door on something that's stagnant, the faster something coming in. And it may be both. Sometimes I've taken on a client where their relationship was stagnant, they get together and then she meets someone new and she has a whole new option in her life. That happens as well. So it escalates sometimes destiny. So if you're going to meet somebody, let's say in the next spring, and you were meant to fall in love, you might get both. And then because it escalates both. It escalates the highest potential for what you have now, because you're still soul mates because your souls mated. There's still an exchange of energy. It was still destiny. And then there's someone you're about to meet that's meant to have an anchored place in your life, and it meets and it crosses around the same time. That's why magic can tamper with timing. So I'll ask and I'll let you know. If it's no, it's still positive. I want you to stay positive. It just means the faster, the happier story starts. And if the answer is yes, then you just needed an extra push. There could have been a karma that was corrupted from your last life that you were involved and didn't work out. And in this life, you tried to work out again. And those things would be in astrology. I'll take another look at the astrology. I think I have your notes in an email or something. I think you sent me his one time. If I don't, that's fine. I'll ask and let you know. But I want you to still be happy. Don't drown in the glass of water that this is. This is just nothing really. It's you matter so much, and your happiness and your life matters so much. Like you deserve happy now. You've been through enough shit in your childhood and in your your youth so far. It's time for happy stuff, right? It can't rain all the time. Oh, listening? You can't. You got to realize that Taurus women, trust me, women that have Taurus sun, Venus blessed her daughters in two different ways. In one, when it's Libra, Libra women will always, I don't care if they're 90, Libra women have this uncanny ability to, when a love doesn't work out for them, there's usually more suitors that become available to them, and they're the ones that push it away. So Libra women can choose. You're never going to see a Libra woman without options. She's without options because she wants to not have them. And Taurus, she was blessed in a different way. Taurus women, what Venus did for her daughters that are Taurus are that when something love-wise doesn't work out for them, they get this blessing, almost like they're usually Taurus females that have had a hard love life. At some point get some financial blessing. It's kind of weird. They end up more comfortable. They end up with at least roof and, food and like all the comforts that it's kind of weird, but it's this blessing that happens to Taurus females. You're never going to see one absolutely broke and alone. They've been through shit, and even if they're alone, they're going to thrive at their job, or they're going to have some kind of pension reward, or they're going to have something left to them, or there's always going to be some blessing that Tauruses have. It's like life saying, you know what, this sucked for you, but we got this for you. Like other people are struggling with that, and you're not. Like you're going to get this. So there's a good fortune with Taurus. And then with love, the thing with Taurus is they're always going to have someone willing to pamper them. But the hard part is they're not always going to love that person back. So that means that you still have time in your youth to find a love that you love that loves you back. But after a certain time period, there's just going to be people that, potential suitors that want to pamper, or they want to put you in a pretty house or something like that, but you're not necessarily going to love that back. So it's a time sequence with Taurus, where Libra, it's different. Libra doesn't have the financial blessing that Taurus has in that way, because there could be rich Libras and poor Libras, but there's not that comfy blessing, but the love pattern is different. So take comfort in your natural luck. You will have, what you want, which is, a marriage and family and romance. And by family, I mean, it's whatever you choose. It could be a goldfish, So don't drown in this negative story. Don't do that to yourself. It's ridiculous. Start watching films and listening to music and reading books and immersing yourself in art from women that have been where you are and have accomplished the love they want. And there's plenty out there. Start watching content and stimuli that feed your highest self. Immerse yourself in works of art and beauty and aesthetics and stories that have a happy ending, that have enthusiastic things. That's what you need to surround yourself with, is believing. If you see yourself looking at stories or having, negative thought in a cycle, don't allow it, because it's just hurting you and it's not true. It's false. It's a facade from fear. So anchor to that. I'll find out for you. I'll let you know. I'll send you an email. I have a couple of email addresses. lamaisonjuju99@gmail. That one's for billing, but you might hear from the Tarot Readings Lucy one. Do you have any other concern or question? I know this one ran over, but again, I made an exception because I felt that, you were stressed before, and, I felt bad. I didn't want you to. Okay. Please don't be negative. This is a new beginning. All right. You're still going to enjoy his company. And you need to explore different ways of thinking and a fresh new perspective. You need to rebuild yourself, and the time is now. Start seeing him for what he isn't. And I will check on the love part. And if the love part occurs, I'll explain everything at that point. Or maybe there's something else for you in store. Maybe you open that door and more comes. Or maybe it's not that much. And maybe with a tiny amount, a fraction of what that love project would be, maybe all you need is a little push, and it can escalate you meeting someone new. I don't know. Let me find out, and I will let you know. All right, sweetheart? But I wanted your permission. All right, sweetheart. Be positive. All right, you don't deserve to live in the shadow of his ex. You deserve way more than that shit. Thank you. He's what? Okay. All right, be positive. There's a fresh new life going to start for you, so be positive. All right, sweetie, have a good night. Speaking of cats, what the fuck are you doing? Tarot.